light is red, the kids are in bed, which means it is time for Mile High Musings with me, Aaron Yowell, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What is good, sports fans? Good evening, good morning, good day, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am your host, Aaron Yowell. I hope you all had a fantastic week. Today, we had a quote-unquote nice weather day here in North Texas. It was so nice. I even went for a run. On purpose. For fun. But other than that, I'm just counting down the days to football season, college or pro, and the return of our champions, the Nuggets, and our champions once removed, the Avalanche. I find myself looking at the calendar wondering, are we there yet? And the answer is almost. But it is that time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sports fans of all ages, so let us ascend to the top of the peak and breathe in that rarefied mountain air and get into some sports takes a mile above the rest. On social media this week, I teased Broncos talk. I am sorry. Not today. No, we're going to talk, of course, about Rockies baseball, a series split and a series dub. We're going to run through the Air Force Falcons football schedule, finally sink our teeth into that NBA in-season tournament, at least the tip of the iceberg version. And then in crunch time, we're going to go through the evolution of the NBA champion Denver Nuggets uniforms, logos, and color combinations. So our beloved Broncos are going to have to wait until next week. And frankly, next week, the entire show might be dedicated to them.
In this house, we praise the Lord and cheer for them Denver Broncos.
Yes, we do. But before we get to the good, let's go ahead and handle our business.
For the last 9 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports and with our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website, iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and all of our show pages with personal bios and the podcast feed for each individual show, including this one, Mile High Musings. Check out the show page at iesportsradio.com/Mile High Musings. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeve shirts, hoodies, and so much more. For nearly a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans and for the fans, and we thank each and every one of you for all of your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, sports fans? It's Aaron Yowell, the host of Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I am here to tell you about a new sponsor on the network, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket beef jerky offers gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. That's my favorite part. This is some of the best beef jerky you can get your hands on, and for a limited time, you can win 4 tickets to see the Storm or win 4 bags of this delicious jerky. All you have to do is visit planetjerky.net. That's planetjerky.net. Place your order, follow Planet Jerky at Planet Jerky, and then DM them, letting them know you bought their premium jerky because of hearing this ad right here. You'll then be entered into a raffle that ends August 1st. Once again, a huge shout out to our sponsor, Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Off we go into the wild blue yonder here on IE Sports Radio with me, Aaron Yowell, on Mile High Musings on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And it's time to talk Air Force Falcons football. Before we do that, we're going to check in with the chat. Taryn, thanks for stopping by. Glad you're here. Larry B, you know you're here for this. It's time. This is my last college football schedule rundown before we get into pro football stuff next week, but we're going to finish our college football schedule rundown with the most successful college program in Division I in the state last year, and that is your 10-3 United States Air Force Academy Falcons. So as I said, last year they went 9-3 for the regular season and 10-3, including a bowl game win. They had marquee wins over CU. Well, CU wasn't really a marquee win last year, were they? Nope, Army and Navy. And as I said, that bowl game win against the Baylor Bears in the Lockheed Armed Forces Bowl. The Falcons, for all of their ground and pound glory, put up 40 or more points 4 times last season. And just to remind you of some of the numbers from last week and the week before, because my brain needs to put things in comparison with the other schools in the state, CU averaged 15 points per game on 173 yards passing and 108 yards rushing. And CSU averaged 13.2 points per game, the second worst offense in the country, on 197 yards passing and 89 yards rushing per game. The Air Force Academy averaged almost 28 points per game on 70 yards passing and 326 yards rushing. This is the way. It is the way. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the schedule. Week 1, they play at home in Colorado Springs against Robert Morris. They didn't play them last year. We have no comparative data. Week 2, Sam Houston State at a neutral location. Didn't play them last year. We're 48 days away from kickoff. I usually let the calendar turn to August before I get this hyped. I'm so hyped. I can't even get through 2 weeks before telling y'all how hyped up I am about not only college football, but also pro football. Back to the schedule. Week 3, at home against Utah State. That was one of their 3 losses last year. Last year they lost 34-27. Week 4, at San Jose State. They didn't play San Jose State last year. So I like it. We're getting some new teams on the schedule for the Falcons. Week 5, back at home against San Diego State. And they beat San Diego State 13-3. And that's kind of the score I expect when I see 326 rushing yards. Not 40 points. We're going to get there. Week 6 is their bye week this year. It's really kind of the perfect dead in the center almost bye week. That's really nice. You get the non-conference games really out of the way. You start with conference play, take a little break, and then you play again at home against Wyoming. They lost 17-14 to the Cowboys last year up in Cheyenne. No, not Cheyenne, you dingus. Laramie. I'm better than that. Woof. Week 8, they play at Navy. Last year they beat Navy 13-10. Again, that's the score you expect from that team. Week 9, at CSU up at Canvas Stadium. Last year, they doubled them up and won 24-12. Week 10, against Army, neutral location, probably in D.C., I would reckon. They beat Army last year 13-7. Again, you look at the Commanders-in-Chief Commander-in-Chief's trophy games, they beat Navy by 3. They beat Army by 6 because those games are ugly and they're wing tee and option and wishbone and run it, and that's what you expect. Not one of these next courses I'm getting to. At week 11, they play at Hawaii. Chef's kiss for going to Hawaii. They didn't play Hawaii last year. Week 12, they play at home against UNLV. One of those 40-point offensive outputs from last year. They beat UNLV 42-7 in Vegas last year. And then they finished the season against Boise State, to whom they lost 19-14 last year. I don't know in the national media realms how much respect Air Force gets, but they finished top 3 in the conference last year. They won a bowl game. They lost 3 games. They have a really good program, really good players. They had a point differential of plus 175 last year, including that bowl game, which they won 30-15. They hold the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, given to the military academy, victorious against the other military academies, or all the weird tiebreaker stuff if they all beat each other. How do you win? I mean, this is awesome, and this is not me being angry when I ask this question, but how do you win 10 games and your quarterback doesn't even throw for 1,000 yards? Well, you do it by rushing for over 4,000 yards, 4,247 yards to be exact last year, and scoring 37 rushing touchdowns. And winning the turnover battle. They were plus 3 in turnovers last season. So you take care of the ball. And then you control the game by running. And Air Force plays like the oldest style of offensive football there is. And it's still clearly effective. Well, I mean, at least, nobody game plans for it because everybody's lining up in 5 wide or 4 wide shotgun spread. And then all of a sudden, these big Air Force boys run out. You can't tell who the quarterback is because all the dudes in the backfield are about 5'8", 190 pounds, rock solid, because they're military kids and they have to fit in a fighter jet. And then you don't know who's got the ball because nobody game plans for wishbone and wing tee and all that jazz and this read option with 15 options coming around the corner and the tight end or the H-back pulling from the backside and cracking some dude in the head. It's so archaic, it works. And it's honestly one of the programs where a fullback is desperately needed. I can think of them, the Stanford teams where you're lining up in 4 tight end and straight I formation, where you're just looking to beat the crap out of the guys in front of you and yet still win. That's where you need a fullback. And it works. It's a good team, and it's a good program, y'all. I expect them to do amazing things. I would not be surprised, honestly, if they went 9-3 again. Maybe even 10-2. Just looking at their schedule, just running it back. Robert Morris, Sam Houston. Okay, maybe they make up the Utah State game. San Jose State, we don't know because it's on the road. They didn't play San Jose State last year. They bring San Diego State home. They have Wyoming at home, and they lost a close game there. They beat Navy, neutral site. Well, no, that was, probably at Navy this year. They play at CSU, and unless Jay Norvell's got those guys really running and gunning by week 9. Army. At Hawaii. Hawaii can be explosive, or the dudes can just be loving the sun out there. And then UNLV, they just destroyed last year. And then Boise, they lost to, but I run their scores back, and they lost by 7 to Utah State last year. They lose by a field goal to Wyoming. They lose by 5 to Boise State. So their 3 losses are teams they all play again this year. And you're looking at 15 points because they run the football and they take care of it. And their quarterback doesn't have to throw for 525 yards a game. Is it highlight reel stuff? No, it is not. It is not sexy ESPN football. that everybody wants to see, but it works. There are a lot of, like 6 degrees of separation, even less than that, with kids on this team, like kids that grew up in the town that I live in now, that went to high school here in the same district that I just got done teaching in. There are kids that grew up in the district that I grew up in back in Colorado, and it's crazy because I'm like, oh my gosh, you went to that high school? Or, I remember, talking to your coach because they were a friend of mine. And it's wild. So look out for this team. I'm telling you, do not be surprised if they are right there with Boise State at the end of the year. And I would love to see them in a conference championship game because I want to see this type of football be successful. I know, like I said, I know it's not sexy, but I want it. I want it to be recognized because it is quality football. There are quality athletes on the field, and they need their flowers. So that's going to wrap it up for your college preview. Next week, as I talked about in the intro, we're going to talk Broncos schedule because we got to keep rolling on this football train. But, Coach is heading out to the mound, so that means it's time for a break. You're listening to Mile High Musings on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr., and I'm welcoming you to take another lap with the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. Yes, this is the Extra Mile with me and my co-hosts Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward. We talk everything racing from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One to limited hydroplanes, endurance racing, the NHRA, and more. So come join us for an hour of great racing talk and a lot of fun as well on the Extra Mile, Thursdays at 8 p.m. only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Coach is back in the dugout. I've still got the ball, and you are listening to Mile High Musings right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Do go check out those shows, especially go and check out 3 and Out this week. You gotta check it out. I'll tell you why later. I'm gonna dangle that carrot in front of you. Go check out Bernie Bango on the Big Cheese Sports show as well if you're down for that Wisconsin sports. And of course, Chi-Town Weekly for all your Chicago sports. But let's get into our Rockies week in review. Live chat, good to see you. Larry B, Taryn, glad you're here. Don't forget to give us a follow on Twitter at milehighmusings_IESR. Let's engage in some discussions. I'm going to tweet out better pictures this week for the upcoming content. I did a mediocre at best job, and I know it. But we're going to get into that in crunch time. Let's talk Rockies. Monday, day off. That's kind of been our MO lately. Monday's a travel day for us, which is okay. Tuesday, bring those Astros in for that weird 2-game set. I talked about it as a 2-game set and then a couple series and then a 2-game set. So this one's at home. But the Rockies get a dub, 4-3. And that made it two of their last three wins. Or two wins out of their last three, coming off of beating the Yankees. Fernando Abad picked up his first big league win in 6 years, period. Throwing 1 2/3 inning. In this one, Colorado used 7 pitchers. I'm so clearly obsessed and fascinated by how many pitchers teams use on a game-to-game basis. I can't get over it. It's a stat that boggles my mind, because I remember back in the day, especially thinking back to like those Atlanta pitching staffs, Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz. Those dudes were machines. They went 7, 8, no problem. And I get that the game is totally different. But just growing up, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to seeing high usage rate from starting pitchers, not 4 or 5 pitchers a game. But I'm going to do more research. I have to do more research because it's so intriguing to me. Rockies left 5 on in this one. So they use 7 pitchers, leave 5 on, and still win 4-3. Chris Bryant and Ryan McMahon both went yard in the first inning, which was desperately needed. We needed him to pop off because we were down 3-0 after the first half of the first. Things were looking ugly. McMahon ended up going 2 for 4 on the day with that homer and a single. Ezekiel Tovar tripled in the fourth to drive in the winning run, in the person of CJ Cron. So 4-3 win. Nice. Wednesday, they lost the day game, 4-1. My boy Austin Gomber lost. He lost, but he threw. Here's the thing: he still threw 6 innings. He gave up all 4 runs on 8 hits, and struck out 5. So had he gotten run support, the same kind of run support that he got from his previous start, he actually literally wins this game. CJ Cron was the lone offensive bright spot with a solo homer in the 9th, just trying to start the rally and couldn't do anything with it. Rockies were 2-hit in this game. They left 5 on base again, and they used 7 pitchers the night before. They steadied their hand a little bit, and a lot of that has to do with Gomber having what I think is still a quality start, even though he gets the loss and he gives up 4 runs on 8 hits. He ate up innings. His pitch count wasn't terrible. His, ball to strike ratio wasn't terrible. He still had 5 Ks. He just didn't get run support. And Austin Gomber has won 4 of his last 5 starts, going no less than 5 innings in each of those games. And Gomber started 4 and 6 this year. And then has calmed himself down, like I said, to win 4 of his last 5, bringing his record to 8 and 7. I think he's the ace right now. His pitch count is admirable. There's nothing amazing, I think, about this Rockies team, so I'm going to stop myself right there. He eats up innings. He strikes guys out. He is a C+ pitcher. If he gets run support, he wins. And looking at his career stats and the run support that he's been getting this year, he's literally getting the most run support this year per start that he has in his entire career. And it's really easy for me to look at just this one pitcher whom I became obsessed with because of his name, because I think he's got a cool name, and key in on the fact that, well, if he only got run support, he'd win games. Well, no kidding. That's how you win baseball games, is run support.
What, Daddy?
I know, Penny. But I just think he's the bright spot of this terrible pitching staff right now. So, give the man the ball. He's actually already scheduled for 2 starts in the next 2 series. Thursday was an off day. It was a travel day. Excuse me. They traveled to South Beach. And they walk in and get a dub right off the bat. 6-1. Peter Lambert got the start for the Rockies. And this man had missed so much time. He had missed the majority of 3 seasons because of Tommy Johns. And I think about all the other pitchers that I've seen over the course of my lifetime experience that. And then I instantly started thinking about Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. So this man's missed the better part of 3 years. In fact, Friday night was his first win in over 1,500 plus days. So that's 3 seasons plus. That's insane. And if you're doing math right now, you're going 3 times 356. That doesn't equal 1,500. Yeah, I know. That's because we're talking big league starts. Lambert goes 5 innings. He struck out 3 and had run support from jump. C.J. Cron, who seems to be a common theme this week on Rockies Week in Review, hit a 2-run homer in the first. Jerks and Profar hit a 2-run homer in the second. And then Elias Diaz homered in the third. 6-1. Awesome. Saturday, 4-3 comeback win. Rockies get down 3-0 with Chase Anderson giving up all 3 runs. However, Anderson ended up having a relatively successful start. Had he gotten run support early? Again, there's that theme. I'm harping on run support early because this Rockies team has the pop. They have guys at every part of their lineup, at every position, that can put the ball in play. And if they'd give these pitchers a little bit, then these pitchers would go out with confidence and not feel so up against it and force the issue. So they're down 3-0, and then Colorado turned it on. Nolan Jones tied the game with 1 swing, a 3-run shot in the 7th, and then in the top of the 9th, they manufactured the winning run. This win, credited to Bard, makes their 5th win in the last 7 games, in 7 games total over since the All-Star break. And so you're 2 games in, series is already wrapped up. You still got to go out and play. So today, afternoon game, a 3-2 loss in 10. And that stinks because you're like, man, sweep, here we go. Now, coming into this game, Miami had lost 8 straight. Now, here's a stat like this for Miami. And I think their record has to look like ours. And also, I was going back over attendance numbers for the weekend series. And their attendance is in the tens of thousands. Like 12, 14,000. How do they keep that stadium open? How do they keep the lights on? How do they keep people employed? Because I can only imagine it costs a pretty penny to run an MLB franchise and ballpark. So I hear numbers like, oh, they've lost 8 in a row. They're not averaging more than 12,000 fans per game. And I'm thinking, oh, they've got to be as bad as us. No, they have 50-plus wins for the year. They just happen to play in the same division as the Braves. So, GG. I salute you. I guess. And maybe it was because Messi was making his debut for Inter Miami. Did y'all see his free kick winner? That was ridiculous. I guess more people were there. I would have been too. I don't like Messi that much. Hot Sports opinion. Now don't get me wrong, though. I know our Rockies are not the greatest road draw. I know that we don't go into visiting stadiums. We don't go on the road and people are clamoring to watch the Rockies. Unless you're a sicko like me, who if they came to the Rangers and I had came into Arlington, played the Rangers, and I had the ability to get some tickets, I'd go. Full Rockies kit and everything, I'd go. But, your home team's record overall is well over 500, and you're still not getting people there. That's scary. And honestly, next week in Rockies Week in Review, I will dive into the attendance at 20th and Blake, because even though we're not awesome, like not even good in any stretch of the imagination right now, I feel like we still get more than 14,000 fans a game. And part of that has to do with Colorado weather in the summer versus the oppressive Miami humidity, but that's an enclosed stadium. I don't know. And isn't South Florida a baseball hotbed? Could I get the network to chime in on that? I swear. So, in this game, Brendan Doyle homered in the 5th. All that to finish this game here. Brendan Doyle homered in the 5th to make it 1-0, and then the Fish scored 2 in the 6th. And then Randall Grichuk homered in the 9th to tie it up. And then Pierce Johnson gave up a bases-loaded single in the 10th. The Rockies are now running out relievers as starters. They used 6 pitchers in this game, all relievers. All relievers. And they left 9 men on base. Woof. That's not how you win games. But, I mean, series win. Rockies are 5-3 since the All-Star break. But today's loss was number 60 for the season, which is, frankly, disgusting to look at. It's really gross. And the Rockies have a full week ahead of them, I'll tell you that. They head up the coast to play a 3-game set against the Nationals, who are coming off of sweeping the Giants. And then Thursday, travel day, they head back to 20th and Blake and host the worst team in the majors for the weekend. That's right. It's the battle for the bottom against the A's at Coors Field. Yikes. Coach is calling a timeout, so we're going to head to a break. On the other side, it's finally time to talk about the new in-season NBA tournament. You are listening to Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What up, Boston sports fans? This is Mikey Two Guns here, your host of Our Bleepin' City, airing every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Please join me. We'll talk everything Boston sports, all the local teams, college teams. I'm even down to talk MMA, boxing, whatever you guys want. So join me every Wednesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Chime in with your questions on the chat, tweet the show. We'll even have call-ins. I can't wait to hear from you guys. This is going to be a lot of fun. So once again, it's Our Bleepin' City. I am your host, Mikey Two Guns, every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. See you soon, people.
We're back here on Mile High Musings on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Do go check out Mikey Two Guns and Our Bleepin' City. I got a chance to finally listen to that show this week. I loved it. They were so great. It was so much fun. We got to talk about pitching and how everybody needs it. And it really stoked my obsession of the whole why are we using 4 pitchers in a game mentality. Thanks for jumping in the chat. If you're on chat right now, glad to have you here. But it's time to talk about this NBA in-season tournament. So let's start with background information. Excuse me. Let's lay a foundation for this thing. There have been talks going back 3 to 5 years about shrinking the regular season schedule, but creating a way to incentivize games in the middle of the season and allow players to, I guess, make a little bit more money. NBA Players Association is doing something right, even though I think these superstars who are opting in and demanding trades or saying, I'm only going to get traded to one city, I think that's kind of ruining the game a little bit. But if the guys on Fast Break want to have me on and talk about that, I'd love to talk about that stuff. Or about your champion Denver Nuggets. Hit me up, boys. So, they've been talking about adding something to make the middle of the season a little bit more exciting because they're not going to really back off from 82 games. That's the sweet spot. And we all know that games between like January and March are the slog. Well, the in-season tournament doesn't happen during the slog seasons. It happens during kind of the holiday season almost. But it all comes back to making more money, and the WNBA tried this first and found success. Now, the WNBA has the Commissioner's Cup, which is exactly at base level what we're going to experience this year. So we're going to try to take this NBA in-season tournament in small bites. Small bites, because that's how you eat an elephant. And then we're going to talk about how it pertains to our beloved champions and what we're looking at kind of going forward. As the season rolls on and we get into this, we will talk more specifically about the teams, the games, all of that. But I want to overview this because the news dropped during Summer League. It totally caught me off guard. And I've mentioned it, I think, for 2 shows now, so we've got to get this done. So you have 2 different sections to this tournament. You have group play and then the knockout round, which sounds a whole lot like AAU tournaments and Gold Crown tournaments and stuff that I played in when I was a kid. But each conference was divided into 3 groups, A, B, and C. And without bogging you all down with how each conference really divided and how the groups were drawn and all of that, because there was, this group of teams had the most blue in their uniform, stuff like that. Not really, but it's a lot, and this is an audio medium, and I have an hour on this show, once a week. So here's what you need to know. The Nuggets were drawn into the group West B. Not West A and not West C, West B. And their group consists of the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Mavericks, and the Rockets. And what's crazy is that this in-season tournament it seems to be, IE Sports Radio's dream of realignment come true. At least for 6 weeks or so. So group play takes place every Tuesday and Friday between the 3rd of November and the 28th of November. Now let's think about this real quick. Tuesday, Friday, it's November. What do they avoid by having on those? What do they avoid by having games on those nights? Will they avoid Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football? They might run into some Friday night college football, but those aren't always marquee games. So there's strategy from the NBA marketing department and all the TV deals and all that jazz. We're going to put it on 2 nights that doesn't have any conflicts. Major conflicts, that is. The team with the best record in the group moves on to the knockout round. And also 1 team from each conference, so the best team not to win their group, moves on to the knockout round. So you're looking at 8 teams. Right? And then the knockout round is a single elimination tournament. So all of the games except the knockout round championship game actually count towards each team's regular season record and the 82 game total. And that's what caught me off guard first. Not how teams were drawn and not this Tuesday, Friday thing, but they're still going to put 82 games on the schedule. They're just going to label it different. Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, right? So if you're good, you play 83 games. And if you're, I don't know, a team like Phoenix or Denver or Boston, and you're really good, you can play 83 to 103 games over the course of the season. That's a lot. That is a lot. And speaking of that, I don't know if y'all saw, I retweeted it from the show account, but Nikola Jokic he announced that he will not be playing for Team Serbia in the FIBA World Cup. Dichotomous to Jamal Murray being on Team Canada's roster for the FIBA World Cup. And a lot of people around Nikola and, people that are tweeting this stuff out, Nuggets media, people in the know, they say that Jokic wants a mental break. I've never seen a more healthy work-life balance. I mean, I talked about it on a show. I think it was my second show or the first show. Jokic, no, it definitely wasn't the first show because I'm still in my smug era. Let's be honest. But Jokic talks about basketball being just something he's good at, not his whole life. And I'm sure that Serbia wants him to play. The country wants him to play. But he is tired. Like, physically, he was tired at the end of the finals. He still was able to put them on their back and win the championship and be clutch when he needed to. But you could just tell. And even though it was a bit when he did the wins parade, no, I have to go home. He was tired. And there was speculation this week on a couple different Nuggets shows and, quote unquote Nuggets Twitter about how many games do we think Jokic is going to actually play this year? People were saying somewhere around 68, 70, depending on what he decided to do for the FIBA World Cup. And I know I'm going on a tangent here. We're supposed to be talking about the in-season tournament, but I have to talk about the slate of games and how it affects our Nuggets. And so you've got Jokic who's choosing to sit out the FIBA World Cup because he's tired. And I bet it's probably 60-40 mental fatigue to physical fatigue. This is the first time that I, as a fan, have got to experience my team playing 100 games, 100-plus games in a season, and having the shortened off season and all of that jazz. I've seen it in hockey, seen it in football. But I think of basketball players as endurance athletes. It's not soccer, trust. It's not soccer, but even the big dudes are lean for the most part. We're not going to talk about Zion Williamson. What did I call him? I'm distracted. So anyway, it's a lot to digest here. But the TLDR is, if the Nuggets win, or whoever wins, they make more money. And there's rumors that the championship, the in-season tournament champion could win $500,000 per player. So it's get paid, homies, and I get that. But it's just going to be interesting to see what the Nuggets do. Are they going to put the gas pedal down and try to win this thing? Or are they going to go, and wait for the playoffs? Because what's going to matter more? In the WNBA, you see the teams winning the Commissioner's Cup celebrating more than winning the championship. A lot of that, and I listened to a podcast this week, and a lot of that has to do with the financial recuperation of the Commissioner's Cup. But I don't know, man. I think the Nuggets might go, go ahead, have your commission or your in-season tournament championship. We're going to go win the Larry O'Brien again. I'm going to be really interested to see what Coach Malone and Calvin Booth want to do. Could be a chance to run those young guys out there. I'm telling you right now, you want an excuse to play Julian Strother and Hunter Tyson and Jalen Pickett and Peyton Watson and CB and Zeke Naji and Vlatko Chanchar. You want a chance to play those guys more? Run them out in that thing. Who cares? I got to be honest with you right now. NBA in-season tournament, gimmick. Who cares? I guess I'm old enough to go, what matters to me is who's the last team standing with what used to be weirdly made championship hats and the confetti falling and the trophy presentation. That's what matters to me. That's it. So we're going to take one more quick break. And when we come back, it's crunch time. I'm Aaron Yowell, and this is Mile High Musings on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area,
from where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU. We cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
That's right. Check out Taryn's show, Set Point, here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And check out my boy Drewski with the Heart of Texas. That's literally my backyard. So shout out to those two. Shout out to chat. Thanks for being here tonight. It feels like it's been a really quick episode. I get on these long Rockies tangents, and then all of a sudden, like that segment, no matter where I put it, 1, 2, 3, goes by so stinking quick. But I'm glad you're here. Glad you stopped by. Thanks for giving us a listen. You can always get us anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Audible. Check us out. Go over to Instagram. Give IE Sports Radio a follow. Go over to Twitter. Give IE Sports Radio a follow. Go to our website, iesportsradio.com. Check out all of our shows. Our list of shows are there. Just really, really glad to be here. Now, it's time for crunch time. Here on Mile High Musings on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And this week's crunch time is something I teased last week regarding the history and evolution of pro sports teams' logos, colors, and jerseys in the state of Colorado. And I, as a kid especially, I was fascinated when I would listen to people talk about jerseys, when I would watch teams come out with new schemes and colors, and why would you change from that font to this font? And it just really, really fascinated me. And so I thought about this whole idea of the evolution of colors and logos as it pertains to our beloved champion Denver Nuggets. This week I tweeted out pictures across the whole week of the Denver Nuggets Rockets evolution between 1967 and today. I know that I missed a few iterations, and I did not include the 8,452 million alternate jerseys that Nike has put out recently, and some of them I really love. And I missed a couple Maxi Minor jerseys in the 70s, but I wanted to hit sort of a broad 10 when it came to the Nuggets logos and jerseys, and I would like to rank them for you. If you need a visual aid for this, do go check out the show Mile High Musings _IESR on Twitter, where I posted these pictures with credits for sure in there. Taryn, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for loving the show. I'm having a lot of fun, and I love talking about stupid logos. But whatever. So let's rank the logos. There are 9 of them that I tweeted out a picture of. I'm going to go 9 to 1. The 9th place for me is the Nuggets logo between 1972 and 1974. It's actually the Rockets logo. It's the second major logo for the franchise. It's got the dopey little Rocket Man. I really just didn't like it. And I understand that during that era of sports and marketing and all of that was the animation style. That was the font style. That's what people were looking for because it was a more, it was a simpler time. They didn't have the technology that we do now. And I can say it was a simpler time in retrospect because, hindsight's always 20/20, but I just don't like it. Number 8, 1974 to 1976, Maxi Minor in a circle. Don't restrict my boy Maxi Minor. I actually like the crazy looking Minor dude. Some people don't, but I kind of do. I think he's fun. I think it helps that Coach Malone got a tattoo of him, kind of kept him in the Nuggets logo zeitgeist, if you will. But that's my number 8. Number 7, and this is where I'm going to start to make people mad. 2009 to 2018, the darker blue, baby blue, and gold mountain with Nuggets in front. I don't like it. And it's going to blow your mind here in a minute. This whole... My top 3 is going to blow your mind. But I don't like it's the dark blue. It's really the color scheme of it that I don't like. And in tandem with that, the 2002 to 2008 light blue iteration of that same logo. A lot of it has to do with what Carmelo Anthony did to the Nuggets, that whole thug life thing that we went through with J.R. Smith and Birdman and Kenyon Martin and the aura surrounding the team. I don't like it. Yo, I'm going to be real honest with you. I do love that. I do love a light blue color. I love Carolina blue, but it's reserved for the UNC Tar Heels. I don't like it on the Nuggets stuff. I don't. Like I said, I think it has a lot to do with the team that wore that color and that logo. Number 5, 1968 to 1971, the original Rockets logo. It's in the middle for me. It's very simplistic. It's a circle. It's a badge. Sort of what we're getting back to in a lot of pro sports. You see a lot of football club soccer teams going back to the badge style, especially if you look at the evolution of MLS logos. They came out with very animated, very three-dimensional looking logos, and a lot of MLS teams are going to a more badge style, geometric shape with design inside of it. That's the original Rockets logo. I think it's classic. I think it's clean. I don't like the colors. Thank God they didn't wear them for that long. That's why it's sitting at number 5. Number 4, 1976 to 1981, Big Maxi Minor. I love it. I think it's the same thing with the dopey looking Rocket Man that is number 9, but Maxi Minor is that sort of animation style, but there's just something fun and lovable about him. And my man's holding a pickaxe. He's like one of the 7 dwarves that may or may not murk you. I don't know, but I love it. And kind of had the red, white, and blue color scheme, and coming out of the ABA, it really worked. And that's the other thing about the Rocket stuff is that's ABA. So all of those logos are buck wild, right? So now, top 3. And you have the 1982 to 1981 to 1992, 93, the Rainbow Skyline. And that is the first logo that I think about with the Denver Nuggets, because that was the first Nuggets team I watched. The 85 team that went to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers with Alex English getting hurt. You had Fat Lever and Kiki Vandeweghe and all that. I don't really remember seeing those guys play, but I know that I did. I went to Old McNichols, and as a kid, I saw those guys play, and they wore the Rainbow Skyline jerseys. And there was different iterations, but the Rainbow Skyline logo is the first Nuggets logo I think of. I remember trying to draw that logo as a kid. My number 2, and this is where controversy happens and I blow your mind. My second favorite Nuggets logo of all time is the burgundy, blue, and gold mountain logo, because that's the second logo I associate with the Nuggets. That's the team that knocked off the Seattle Supersonics in the first round, that gave Utah a run for their money that year. It's the Mutombo Nuggets. It's LaFonso Ellis. I feel like every picture of a jersey I see from that era is number 20 LaFonso Ellis, which was the jersey I had as a kid, and he was my favorite player, and he was athletic as hell and played basketball so well and got so hurt, it was very frustrating. And then number 1 is the current logo. I think it's a beautiful combination of geometric shapes, homages to all the other eras before. I love the pickaxes. I really do. I love it. And I love the current color scheme that goes with it. So now to the jerseys. I tweeted out 7 pictures. Like I said, I know there's 8,452 million more, but this is what I decided to focus on this week. So at number 7, the 1971 to 74 purple and gold. Enough said. Purple and gold is not the Nuggets. That's the Lakers, and I don't like the Lakers colors, so I don't like them. It's the same as it's the same jersey as that dopey Rocket Man combination. 67 to 71, the original Rockets jerseys. Again, colors big on that. It was orange and brown, orange and black. It's just terrible. Number 5, the Thuggets baby blue jerseys, and all iterations therein. I lumped them all together. Basically 2002, 2003 to 2018. I didn't like them. Some of the alternate jerseys they came out with were kind of cool, but it was at the very end, and it was ones that people didn't like the white jerseys. I think that was Jokic's, second or third year in the league. They were terrible. 74 to 81. You're getting into the Maxi Minor. I like the colors, but kind of in the middle. So number 3. This number 321 looks a lot like the 321 before. The Rainbow Skyline, loved them. 93, 94 to 02, the Burgundy and Blue Mountain. Again, that was the jersey I had as a kid. That's the 94 Nuggets. And then I actually love the current jerseys. I love every single jersey that the Nuggets wore this year. My favorite are the ones they won the championship in. The white, the homage to the throwbacks. I really like them. There was a tweet put out by Eric Weedham, a.k.a. D-Line Co. of the DNVR Sports Network, and he said that he feels like everyone's favorite iteration of their team's logo and jersey is the one from the past. And I engaged in conversation with him. I said I respectfully disagree on the Nuggets, but I agree with you everywhere else. And we kind of went back and forth a little bit, and he, his argument isn't wrong. I love the current iteration of the Nuggets logos and colors, but not far behind is the main logo and color combination from my childhood, because that's the first love of the team and all that jazz. So that's the Nuggets logos, colors, and evolution. It's really hard to do this on an audio medium, but next week I want to do the same thing with the Broncos. I really do. It's going to be a whole Broncos filled podcast next week.
In this house, we praise the Lord and cheer for them Denver Broncos.
Who let Grandpa back in here? Seriously. Isn't he supposed to be in bed? But that's going to do it for us tonight on the pod. We're super, super glad that you were here. Thanks for being in chat. Thanks for sticking with us. It was a great, great show. Next week, let's talk Broncos. Before we do that, be sure to check out the 3 and Out podcast with Larry B. I got a chance to get interviewed and talk Broncos this weekend. It's going to be up on Monday. It's the NFL preview. We're starting with the AFC West. We're starting with our Broncos. Please go check it out. I had some spicy takes. And I think that is a really, really perfect lead-in to our Broncos week.
Go Broncos!
That's right, Penny Quinn. Go Broncos. We are 49 days from kickoff. Dennis Smith number of days. All respect to Alex Singleton. And as we get into next week, check out Christmas in July. Be watching the show's Twitter, because the Broncos are coming out with the jersey drop. Please, God, let it be in all white with a white helmet with the old school D and the skinny-legged Bronco. Please, for the love of God. I don't need, respectfully, I don't need any more orange. And if they're going to do blue, they better do the old blue. But they need to homage it back. Training camp starts on Wednesday, and our season preview is 7 days from day of recording. Thank you so much again. Check out the show and all the other shows on the network. I am Aaron Yowell. This has been Mile High Musings on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed from all that is sports, and we are signing off from the top of the mountain.